Hey guys, Jonah here, back with another beer review, and we are back at one of my favourite breweries at the moment, Vocation. Deadly serious about beer. Um, and this is the beer mat I'm using at the moment. And weirdly, in a weird coincidence, let me explain. I got an email from Vocation saying that they'd released a new box set of beers, which I think are for Christmas. And yeah, they all look like, the labels look like famous chocolate bars. And I think they're all linked in. So there's one that looks a bit like a Bounty wrapper, and it's a coconut beer. And then there's one that's looks a bit like a Snickers or a Marathon, as they used to be, and it's a peanut beer. So I thought, you know what? I've been drinking a lot of Vocation beers, and they're really nice. I should order some more, shouldn't I? And yes, so I ordered I think about 8 or 9 beers, just over 40 quid. So I got the free delivery. I know, that's quite expensive for beers, but a lot of them were like well over 6%. Some of them are like 10%. So they're really strong beers, and yeah, I thought I'd order them. Now, I used my code as well that I got as part of the GBBF Beer Festival up in London. Met you at the bar, it's the code. But if you look back in my back catalogue of videos, look for the video that's, I think it's titled Vocation Unboxing, and you can actually see the code. You can pause it, and then you'll see what the code is. Also, you can get a 15% discount from signing up to their newsletter. So if you fancy some nice beers for Christmas, or even as a present, they're in a box set. I think you get a free glass as well, and some other bits and bobs. Now is the time to go to Vocation Brewery. And yeah, as I always say, my best friend, Jim Durham, who died last year, always makes me sad. Vocation was his favourite beer. It was life and death, ironically enough. So yeah, I always have a soft spot for Vocation. So I thought I would do another one of the special edition pale ale beers, because I'm drinking quite a few pale ales, which is weird considering it's winter time. And this is the one, if you watch my video from yesterday, this is the one that's got some really weird colours, and my camera does not like focusing on these at all. So this is called Day Trip. There's a chap there in a small rowing boat, just chilling out in some loch or lake, perhaps up in, yeah, the Lake District, I guess, or somewhere up there. Even though Vocation itself are in Hebden Bridge, I don't know if they've got any big reservoirs up there, but that's quite a cool graphic. Interesting colours as well. Really, really bizarre, but I quite like that. It kind of reminds me of those old posters that you used to get in the underground in London. Go to this place for a visit, or something like that. Anyway, 5% on the ABV. Obviously, this is a 440 can. It's a hazy beer again, hazy, juicy, and hoppy. And if we go to the actual description, it says, whoops, there we go. Take a trip to the Blue Lagoon with this easy pale ale, brewed using London fog yeast for a hoppy cruise of fruity flavour and velvety finish. Juicy, hazy, full of character. Hop on board and take it chilled. Hazy, juicy, and hoppy. We have got classics, Mosaic and Galaxy in there. Bold notes of citrus, peach, passion fruit, with a bit of pine in there. Pine! Your beer is our vocation, from the Vocation Brewery. Absolutely fantastic. While we are looking at the can, let us turn around and see we have got some wheat in there and oats in there. My two favourite things of beer. And like I said, for some reason, these colours making it even more difficult. There we go, got in focus for the can art. And on this beer, I really like it. It's fantastic. The Vocation, weirdly enough, though, apart from the box set which I've ordered and is on the way as we talk, I had a look for their special edition beers, and I don't know if it's because it's winter time and they're not doing so much brewing, or because they've just moved to a new brewery. But that was a year or so, or a couple of years ago. But they didn't seem to have as many special edition beers. Maybe they don't release them so much in wintertime. I don't know. So if you guys know, or if Vocation, you're watching this video, which I really hope you are, yeah, let me know. Why are there less special edition beers in the winter than in the summer? Who knows? Anyway, let us get into this bad boy. Actually, before we do that, if you're liking this video and you're waiting for the opening of this beer, why don't you subscribe to the channel? Click like and subscribe down below, leave me a comment, and it always makes me smile. There we go. Nice big hiss. I don't know if you heard that. And I have my other Vocation glass, the Big V. There we go. It says Vocation on the front there. So this is going to be a hazy beer. From some of the beers that I've had lately, they've got an incredible amount of head on there. Oh, and this one has too. Let's try and do it a little bit more gently. Maybe I should lift it up a bit so you can see. That head, man, that's ridiculous, dude. Oh my God. So definitely got the Vocation framed within that glass, and I can really smell that lovely, yeah, passion fruity type smell. And we've got V. Do you remember that show from like the 80s? V, where they ate like rats and stuff. Oh, Jesus Christ, that is ridiculously hoppy. Wow. That is really fruity. I'm definitely getting those tropical fruits. The passion fruit is definitely there. A little bit more sort of zestiness as well. Yeah, sort of grapefruity stuff. Maybe not so much of the greenness, like the dankness on the nose. So no, was it Citra? I've totally, my memory is absolutely awful. No, Mosaic and Galaxy. So I'm not sure where that greenness, that dankness, the pine that they refer to, and I'm not sure where that's coming from. Going to be one of those two. Wow, look at that head. I mean, wow, I usually kind of do that, but that's 3 fingers at least of head. Let's do a, yeah, turn it like that, turn that in so we get that chap on the boat like that and like that, and then do one of my silly faces. See if we get that on the front. Right. Wow, I'm not sure if this is going to be a zesty one. It says hazy, juicy, and hoppy. Juicy. So hopefully it'll be that nice juice that washes your palate instead of the juice as in lemon juice in your eyes, which is a little bit too much for Unclejona. Guys, cheers and beers. We will see what we get from this bad boy. Ooh. We are getting a bit of zest. Like, it's weird. It's like a grapefruit, maybe even sort of an orangey kind of zesty thing going on. and then it kind of clears. So there is a bit of juiciness. It clears the palate, but not. It's not like a wave of juice. It's not like drinking pure juice. Um, and it says it's got oats and wheat, but I'm not getting that classic hazy thing because this is quite a hoppy beer of the oats and wheat creating that creaminess that kind of really coats your mouth. Maybe it's there in the background. It's not prominent purely because the amount of hops in this again is going to be a lot. The other thing up front is a bit too much carbonation, as you can see from the head. I mean, look at that. That over there is probably the first tide line. My God, it's incredibly fat. It's a fat line. You know what I mean? I much prefer it when there is a definite tide line on the side of the glass. But that is just a selfishly fat line. Um, yeah, that passion fruit is in there. It's weird. Um, but the juiciness, I mean, I don't eat passion fruit that often. Obviously, I've eaten it before, but yeah, being in the northern hemisphere, passion fruit, I guess, is something I don't really have, which is weird because we've got passion flowers growing in the neighbour's hedge. My God, wow, that's quite carbonated. The downside of the carbonation, the excessive carbonation, which I think is coming from this. I don't know. I was going to say, is it fruit? Have they put some sort of fruit juice in here? I don't think they have. So it can't be the fruit causing the extra carbonation in secondary fermentation. But what happens, and I've I've said this before, um, the carbonation kind of adds a bit of acidity, especially in the initial kind of mouthfeel. So those carbonation, the carbon dioxide, bursts on your tongue, but it gives you a little bit of acidity that perhaps you wouldn't have got normally, which is weird because when you have a really carbonated lager, like an over carbonated lager, or even a cider, it just kind of adds a sharpness to it. But with beers that have got ludicrous amounts of hops, it kind of adds an acidity to the hops that might be usually in a hazy, they're tiny bit flat. That makes sense, especially if you've got oats and wheat in there. But yeah, the overcarbonation kind of spoils it a little bit for me. And the bubbles go up your nose as well. Whoa, like champagne. Now I'm getting a sort of, it's almost like Simcoe. I'm getting like an orangey kind of punchiness. So at the beginning, it was more zesty. It was a bit more kind of grapefruity. And the passion fruit is there, but in the passion fruit's more in the tail end of this beer. But up front, definitely getting some powerful kind of orangey. Maybe that's what they mean when they describe it as citrus flavour. But it's coming to me, it's expressing itself as a kind of orangey juice as opposed to the grapefruit, which I was getting kind of at the beginning. So maybe that acidity from the carbonation has turned the orange into something a bit more acidic, like grapefruit juice. So right at the beginning, when I was getting that huge head and there was a lot of carbonation around, I mean, there's still a head there. Look, that's kind of a normal head. Um, but that carbonation has lifted those orange flavors and made them a bit more grapefruity. That makes sense. This is quite a nice beer, I have to say, and it is, and I'm pretty sure that, yeah, it's describing itself just as a pale ale at 5%. A lot of people would probably call this an IPA of some description, possibly a session IPA. I had a tiny little back and forward with Sarah Pantry today on Facebook about the descriptions of beer, and like I was saying the other day, what the hell is session IPA all about? I was looking at the BJCP guidance, and yeah, it just made me laugh because they've got black IPA, and I was like, IPA stands for India Pale Ale. It's a pale ale like that. That's a pale ale. How can you have a black pale ale? Very weird. And they've also got in the style categories, they've got white pale ale, which makes sense, kind of, and red pale ale or red IPA. Sorry, I should say the IPA. So red pale ale. They've got brown pale ale as well. My God, there's so much carbonation in this bad boy. If you can get this one, definitely try it. I think this one, if I remember rightly, is still available as a special edition on their website. But for me, unless they've done a rebrew, and I think the special editions they only do, one run of, bit too carbonated for my tastes, and that messes with the flavors. I much prefer something a little bit more mellow, and then that gives the hops the ability to do their things without that kind of extra carbonation zestiness. Carbonic acid. If you get water and you pour loads of carbon dioxide through it, eventually you're going to end up with carbonic acid. So it's going to be a lot more bitter, a lot more sour. It's probably not going to do any damage to you. Don't be afraid. Don't fear the carbonation. Um, but yeah, I suspect that's what's to blame. Hazies, in my opinion, should be a little bit not less carbonated overall, but not that much. I mean, the amount of head in there is ridiculous. Anyway, this has been Uncle Jonah, waxing lyrical as usual, and drinking juicy pale ale so you guys don't have to. My suggestion is go over to the Vocation Brewery website and have a look at the new beers that they've released literally earlier on today. You'll see what I mean. All the beers look like chocolate wrappers, and it's brilliant. But I've ordered some, so I'm going to be drinking them. But if you fancy going over there, sign up to their newsletter, get 15% off. If you've already done that and you need some extra help, go back, do a search for Vocation unboxing video on Uncle Jonah's channel, and there's a code that you can also get 15% off if you don't qualify for the newsletter one. Anyway, I'm just trying to look after you and save you some money from drinking beer. So cheers and beers, guys. We'll see you on the next one. I think I've got one more Vocation beer in the fridge out of this batch to drink. We'll definitely have that tomorrow. Cheers and beers, guys. We'll see you real soon.